Hi guys, I'm back again, and today I'm making nesting bowls. I don't often make these types of sets just because they just don't sell that fast, but they're really fun to make and they're fun to display and they're fun to use. So I thought it'd be a great idea to share with you guys how I go about making a set of 3 nesting bowls. So to start off, and you can see some of the sets behind me, to start off I've got 3 pieces of clay already wedged and weighed out. As you can see, they are little bear, mama bear, papa bear. I've got 1 pound, 2 pound, and 3 pound pieces just to make it really simple for you guys. And that's how I normally do it. I don't have any, scientific method of weighing out my clay or anything like that. I just start with the smallest piece and I go from there. I've seen people start with the largest piece and then make their successively smaller pieces, but I like to start with the smallest first. So what I'm gonna be doing, and as you can see, the fun thing about nesting bowls is you can make them in different shapes, right? They don't have to be traditional bowls like these guys. They can be a little bit more cylindrical if you prefer. So here's the smaller 2 of this set, right? And these are great for serving dishes. You could even bake like pot pies, things like that in them. So I'm gonna land somewhere in between the 2 today just to show you guys the versatility of, you can throw any form you need to throw, but what you wanna keep in mind, especially if you're a beginner at this, is you wanna throw something that you're gonna be able to replicate 3 times in 3 different sizes. So throw what's in your wheelhouse, throw the shape or design that's in your wheelhouse. That's the best place to start. So I'm gonna take the 1 pound piece first, get it centered up, a little bit of water. And we're gonna go for a little bit more of a upright bowl shape for these guys. You're gonna wanna have a ruler handy too if you don't normally use a ruler. I'm gonna dig down, open up. For bowls, rather than digging straight down and pulling straight back like I would for cylinders, like these pieces you see behind me, but for the bowl shape, I dig down at a bit of an angle and I scoop. So the inside of the bowl already takes a bowl shape rather than that really linear shape that cylinders have. And then I go back and just add a little bit of compression, as we all know how important it is to compress the inside of your work. A little bit more water to start to bring the walls up. The other thing you want to be mindful of, especially with the first piece, is stretching the clay to its capacity but not making it overly thin. Nesting bowls are going to be serving a lot of different functions in and around the kitchen and table, so you want them to be sturdy. I like to leave the rims a little bit thicker. It just makes them easier to nest and also easier to grab a hold of to pull out when you're wanting to use one or the other. So a little bit more shaping on this guy. And then we're going to measure. So I'm getting an idea of the diameter of my pot and the height. And this one is 5 inches and it lands right around 2 inches tall. So my rule of thumb, because you want to be able to have room to get your fingers inside of the next size bowl to pull this smaller guy out, if this is 5, then I'm going to leave I want the next bowl to be about 6.5 to 7 inches. So I'm leaving a good amount of space to be able to just ease of use, right? So let's go ahead and clean up the base. So we'll just call it an even 7 for the next size. And I basically do them the same height, all 3 bowls. So we'll go 7 by, well, the next one will probably end up being a little bit taller. So this one's 2, the next one might be 2.5 or 3. I'm gonna wire this off, but leave it on the bat. And I'll just set these down so I can reference them as I go. And I'll compare them side by side as I make each one for you guys. So next size piece of clay is my 2 pounder. Get this centered up. I'm gonna dig down with that angle in mind. So I'm not digging straight into the center, I'm digging just off and with the pads of my fingers, not the tips of my fingers. So I end up with a V-shaped hole, and then I scoop my fingers back up, climb them up to the rim, so the inside already has a scooped out shape like a bowl should. Going back, compressing with my sponge, getting rid of any indentations or lines, and then heading towards bringing the walls up. Remember when you're bringing your walls up that most of the clay you're trying to look to bring up is sitting on the outside, right? I call this like the tree trunk. So you want to gather the clay that's at the base of that tree trunk and let that be what you use to bring up. Let's reference for a measurement, see where we're landing. I'm at about 6.5 at the moment. So we've got plenty of clay here to come out a bit further. And I'm bringing up as I'm shaping. And now we're at about 7.5, but the interior, right? 7.5 to the widest part of the exterior, but the interior of this bowl is landing just around 7 inches. So that's fine, because I've got a nice thick rim. I go back just a little bit more, finessing inside this piece. I might use my rib tool a little bit. Take the excess clay from the outer edge with the angled knife. Check my exterior measurement. I'm landing just about 2 3/4, so that's fine. I'm gonna use my rib tool just to smooth the inside of this piece a smidge more. There we go. All right, so bowl number 2. I'm gonna leave this one on the bat as well, but just for a side-by-side comparison to show you, this one will nest perfectly fine inside that guy. And last but not least, I've got my 3-pounder. Same procedure, getting things centered. You can throw nesting bowls, remember, in any size. So if 3 pounds is not in your wheelhouse, your largest piece might end up being 1.5 pounds or 2 pounds. You can make the interior bowls even smaller if you need to. So don't let this, tedious measuring process throw you off your game. Again, opening up the inside, using a little interior pressure with my sponge, smoothing, compressing, and then starting to build my walls up. I want to make sure I have enough water to make things nice and smooth so my hands don't stick. And because that second bowl landed right around in the 7-inch range, 7.5-inch range, I'm gonna go for about 9 to 9.5 inches for this guy, and I'm already right at about 8.5. Clean up the inside and see where we're landing with our measurement. Maintain the integrity of the rim of that piece. And I'm just a little bit over 9. In fact, I'm right at 9.5 at the exterior. So we'll come back and clean the extra clay up off the base. Just do a quick sweep. I've got quite a bit of slip on the outside of this big guy, so we'll clean that up a little bit. Just helps stiffen the clay up a little quicker. And I'm going to do the same thing on the inside. that slip layer, come back, one last measurement, and I'm right at 9.5. Clean up the rim. So here's the largest one, held up against the second largest one, and Baby Bear. So I hope that was helpful, you guys, for a trio of nesting bowls. It's a really fun project to try with any type of clay, any amount of clay. You can make them with spouts, you can make them in different shapes, in cylinder shapes, you can make sets of 5 or 7, it doesn't have to be 3. So I hope that was fun for you to watch, and leave me a comment below if you have technical questions. I'd love to help you figure